Hi guys, Philip here. So in this video here, I want to talk to you about the psychology of trading and how to deal with losses and not let in-play trading become gambling, okay? Because obviously when you're a trader, you have to be a trader, not a gambler. Because gamblers just, bet with their emotion, they bet with, instincts, they bet with, no rationale. They just bet because they want to bet. And so whereas traders do what is the most likely outcome. Okay, that is what they're trading on. And so this here is a video based on a comment I got from one of my subscribers. So thank you so much for leaving that comment. I'll try to say your name, the tests 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So thanks for leaving that comment. Please do keep giving me suggestions on what you want to hear, because that's going to help me grow as well. So yeah, psychology of trading, right? I remember years ago, I was watching a really cool documentary from. Who's it called? Louis Theroux. Okay, this one here, about gambling. Okay, I highly recommend you go and watch that because in this, I believe it was this one here where he linked up gamblers to a machine and they measured their brain waves when they were gambling to see what was happening. And I remember one thing that really stuck out to me was the fact that what was happening was it wasn't the winning that made you go crazy. It wasn't the winning that made you want to gamble more. It was the near misses. Okay, so have you ever noticed that when you are gambling on a slot machine, or you get a scratch card, or any form of gambling, you always just don't win. So if you get a scratch card, you get 2 out of 3. If you get scratch cards that we need like 4 lions to win a jackpot, you get 2 lions or 2.5 lions, right? When you're playing a slot machine, you get jackpot, nothing, right? You get these sort of near misses, and that is what triggers your brain, okay? Because what he discovered in this documentary was the fact that gamblers get a bigger dopamine hit, a bigger rush, a bigger thrill from almost winning, not from winning itself. So winning itself feels good, obviously, but the real hit, the real sort of oh my god moment, always comes from almost winning, which is why almost every game out there, whether it's horse racing or gambling or any form of gambling, slot machines, you have roulette, you have blackjack, whatever, you're almost always winning, okay? And so whether you're getting beaten by the blackjack table or whatever, you're almost always just 1 card away, right? And that is what keeps you going. And that obviously becomes compounded when you start trading on Betfair, because there are races every day, all day. You can see here I've got the Australian races open here, just in the background here, and so you can in theory trade almost 24/7, right? Which becomes quite addictive, because the problem with this is the fact that if I enter here on the lay side on the favorite here, okay, the problem is the minute the price goes against you and you start losing, most traders, especially beginners, start almost taking it personally. They almost start sulking and whinging that somehow the world is conspiring against them and the market is against them and everything is against them and poor me, poor me, poor me. I'm a victim, okay? What they don't understand is that this here is an inanimate bit of code, okay? The odds are the odds. Nobody cares. There are no feelings involved. So it's so important for you to understand that when you feel that bit of a rush, when you feel that sort of your fingers tingling or you feel that excitement happening, that is psychology. That is your brain activating because you're getting a dopamine hit from clicking around buttons, okay? And you're anticipating a potential win. You're anticipating a potential miss. And also what happens here is the fact that here you're triggered continuously by the fact that there are near misses all over the place, right? You'll hear me say over and over again in all my videos, whenever I miss an opportunity, right? For example, here, if I think this horse here is going to go up in price, and I click here, and the price goes up, and I just miss it, right? You can hear it in my voice. That is more frustrating than when I win, okay? Because it's a near miss. So it's so important for you to understand that psychology is probably 90% of trading. Anyone can learn how the odds move. Anyone can watch 100 races that are in play and start seeing a pattern in how horses run, or how jockeys behave, or how the odds go up and down depending on if a front runner is at the front or back, right? Anyone can learn that. But to master your emotions is very, very, very hard. As a rule of thumb for me, I find that you need to train yourself. You need to train yourself to numb your feelings in relation to your losses. So right now here, guys, as you can see, I got a £10 lay stake here, and I'm losing. Okay, but you can see it's like 18 pence, 20 pence. I don't care. Like, it's not. This can go on and on and on and on all the way to here. I wouldn't really give a shit. Okay, because it's only £10. Had that been £5,000 right now, I'd be getting nervous, okay? Because if I popped in a £5,000 stake there, assuming it was matched, right? I'd be getting nervous now because this here will be in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, okay? So that will make me nervous because that is a disproportionate amount of my bank balance, okay? So what a good rule of thumb is, if you are getting excited, and what I mean is, if you find your heart rate increasing, if you find yourself getting sweaty, if you find yourself getting complete tunnel vision and all you're looking at is the red, it shows you're staking too much. Okay, you're staking too high. So what I recommend for all beginner marketers, always a little psychology experiment for yourself, right? Come in here to any market, it doesn't matter, and then just literally click anywhere, doesn't matter, just enter the market and wait for one to go into the red, okay? And see how comfortable you are looking at the red, going, I'm losing 10 pence, I'm losing 60 pence, I'm losing again, and just sit there and monitor your heart rate and just sit there and wait, okay? And then next one, go £5, and then £10, and £20, and £30. Go on the lay side, back side, any side, doesn't matter. The minute you feel, oh, that's getting too much, you know you've hit your barrier. You know you've hit the level that you are comfortable trading with. And whatever that stake is, half it. And that is what you trade with. Okay? Because understand, guys, that for you to become a real trader, you have to numb your emotions enough so that when you are trading, you don't get emotionally attached to your trades. Right? Because otherwise what happens is, almost every time that I fail, if you're sitting here right now and you got a losing trade here on a favorite. So imagine that if this was like 40, 50 quid right here, I'm losing right now, okay? So imagine if I had a £40 losing stake right now, and the race here is about to go off. And you start thinking, oh, you know what? I'll let it go and play because the favorite might not run well, or the favorite might run really well, and I can make my money back that way. Okay, again, that's fine if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, then you're just turning that into a straight gamble. Okay, I've done it loads of times. Every trader's done that loads of times. Anyone who says they haven't is a liar. Okay, that's simple, because every trader is effectively a gambler at heart, right? And so if you find yourself in this position here, imagine if this here was down at the losing end here, and I was losing £10, £20, £30, and I was getting nervous, and I was getting emotionally annoyed because the trade went against me. If I'm even considering taking it in play just to recover the losses, right, for emotional reasons, it shows you that you are staking too much and you're not emotionally ready yet. And that means you should not go in play, because whatever happens then, if you go in play, then you are basically setting yourself up to failure, and you're going to lose more money, particularly if you're on the lay side. Because when you're on the lay side, you tend to lose a hell of a lot more than if you're on the back side. Okay? And so right now, what, like I said, what most beginners do is they will then let this go in play. And if you let this go in play, then you're setting yourself up for a huge sabotage here, because the minute it goes in play, you are basically gambling. Because unless you have a clear strategy, unless you have researched the horses, unless you know who's the front runner, unless you know the track, unless you know what you're doing, you are basically gambling, right? There are exceptions, because you can sort of look at the horses, you can keep an eye on things and see what happens during the race. But if you're a complete beginner, then you are basically gambling. So you can see now I'm losing, 65p. For me right now, I don't care, right? Had that been sort of 70, 80, 90 pounds, I'd be getting nervous, because I'm like, oh, that's a disproportionate amount to my sort of average win per race, okay? Which means that I'm losing too much, right? And so this here is kind of the idea behind this here, guys. So what I recommend you do is this: just come to a race, any race, and just pop in £2 stake, and then a £5 stake, and £10 stake, individual stakes. Don't add them up, okay? And then just sit there and just monitor and just see how you feel. Do you feel comfortable being in a losing position of £1? If you don't, then you're staking too much. Do you feel comfortable being in a losing position of £10, right? And so on and so on. And this here is all in relation to the proportion of your bank, all right? There is no real sort of right or wrong thing here, because so bank management is down to you, but sort of the rule of thumb is, you never want to lose more than sort of 2% of your entire bank on one single bet or one single trade. Okay, that's the kind of rule of thumb. But it depends, right? Because obviously you might only have like a £1,000 bank on Betfair, but in theory you might actually have £10,000 in your bank account, right? So which overall bankroll are you working with? Because you can just deposit more money. So again, that's down to you and how you manage things. But you need to understand that if you, let's say for argument's sake, I had a bank of, let's say £1,000, and let's say for argument's sake, I was losing sort of £100 here right now, right? That's 10% of my entire bank in one single trade. That's just too much. That's too high, because that means if I just make 3 or 4 bad trades, then instantly I'm in a huge minus, okay? Which doesn't make sense. Because what you're going to find is you will always have periods when you have a few bad days, because, things just don't go your way, or your computer crashes, or something happens, right? That's always the case. So you can see that this here has now gone in play, right? And suddenly you can see here, if this favorite horse here wins, I lose £12. So imagine if that was 120 quid, right? And I only have a bank balance of £1,000, right? So that's 12% of my bank gone in one trade. That makes no sense at all for any trader. It doesn't matter how big your bank is. If you're losing 10% of your bank every single losing trade, that's too much. Because that means you haven't got the time or the bank to even test a strategy, because you can't do that. But what I do recommend, guys, highly recommend, go and watch this documentary here. It's quite an old one, as you can see, but that's totally fine. The same, gambling is evergreen, and you'll probably recognize yourself in every single one of these gamblers, because we're all part of that in some way. I think we're all basically, let's face it, guys, we're all drawn to gambling because at heart, I think at some point we were all gambling addicts, right? I think most of us started off like match betting and doing arbitrage kind of thing, and then we suddenly started to looking at making money, beating the system, finding a system that we can just do all day, every day, right? I think we all started that way, and that's what eventually drew us, or made us find trading on Betfair. Okay, but whether it's with horses or football or whatever, right? Tennis, I think we're all gamblers at heart. So I think every last one of us has these kind of sort of triggering points here, where at some point we can and will and probably have been some kind of gambling addict in some form. Okay, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But this here is very important, because what you'll notice is, when you understand this concept here, you will feel your heart racing, even with just doing this. Okay, so even though you win some, lose some, you'll notice that when you're winning or losing, even sometimes when you're not even trading, just by watching the horses, you'll feel your heart racing. Okay, and it's because you're getting excited, you're getting emotionally involved, right? And nobody is immune to this. No one is immune to that. Okay, because everyone is a human being. So you can see here now I won £10. Yay, right? That wasn't actually the plan, but so you can see there. So, but the point being, guys, when it comes to losing psychology, nobody can fix you but yourself. Only you can fix yourself. So if you are consistently losing and you're getting more and more angry with yourself, you need to find some way, some affirmation, some kind of routine, something that makes you stop overstaking. Because even if you only have a bank of, I'm just going to bring up the next marker here, just 1 second. So even if you only have a bank of, let's say, £500, right, you can and will become a very successful trader, even with a bank of £500, if you're using £2 stakes or £5 stakes. Okay, because that means that if I come on here, for example, let me just quickly hop in here again. So imagine if I have a bank of £500 and I pop in here with a £2 stake right here or here. Okay, here you can see 3p, 6p, 10p. Right, I can lose like a 20. I can have a 20 tick loss here, and it won't really bother me, even with a £500 stake or a £500 bank. And what does that mean for you? That allows you to become a good trader, because you can sit and learn. Because the only time you truly understand the market and learn the market is when you have an open trade, because that is when you become emotionally attached to it, even if you are in emotional control, because that is the only time you actually look at the market and go, okay, I'm in here now. What are the horses doing? What's happening here? What's happening here? Where are the odds? Where are these coming in? How do I read this graph properly? can I position this here? And then you start looking at this different charts and so on. You start adding different things here, and you start actually looking at these different charts and think, okay, I like this one here better. Okay. So you start looking, okay, so coming down now, but it's okay because I'm only 3 pence. And you start looking, oh, but this one here is at a resistance point. Will that help my position here? You know what I could do? If this bounces back up here, this one might come down. So you know what? I might actually pop. Oh, so I missed that. Oh, I just missed it. See that? Oh, I'm going to put in £4-6 now. Oh, and you start trading, right? And you start becoming more and more emotionally attached, and you start doubling down your losses. See here? Boom, right? And suddenly you go, oh, but that worked out. So now I can take this here and go on the left side here and actually scratch this trade. Boom, see that? And you go, oh, okay. So now I've lost nothing. Well, that's kind of cool. Okay, so this one here's now gone through, right? That's how you learn. So as long as you're using stakes that proportionally to your bank, right, you can basically just go in and out, in and out, in and out, like this here, and never really lose money. And what you'll notice is that somehow suddenly, if you're using smaller stakes, you can trade. And at the end of it, you kind of almost always come out sort of either with a very small loss or a reasonable small win. And you're never really up or down, you're just level. But you're gaining priceless experience, okay? But that only happens when you go what? When you click here and you go boing, and you're in the trade. That's the only time you learn that, okay? Because that is when you become emotionally involved. Even with a £2 stake, I can feel myself getting more attached or involved in this here straight away, boom, like that. I'm attached, right? And that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing if you're using too large a stake. And what happens here, like this, you go in losing position and you go, oh no, I'm going to lose my, you know what, I'll take this in play. I'll take it in play because, you know, the horse might not win and, you know, I'll take it in play and just to see what happens, right? And suddenly you're gambling. Okay, because at that point there, you have no reason or any kind of rationale behind it unless you're an in-play trader. Okay, so this one here, you know, it'll go in play, and then you can lose even more. So I can lose £4 here, right? So it's all about that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm rambling on here, guys, but the point being, nobody can fix you but you. Okay, so if you are struggling with a losing bank and you are struggling by you're constantly losing too much, it's because you're staking too much. It really is that simple. You don't need to go and see a psychologist to learn that. If you're losing too much, you're staking too much, right? That simple. So what I recommend, come here, use £2 stakes and test your level. Test where you are getting nervous. Test when you're getting too emotionally involved. Because if you can enter here with a trade on any of these horses here and be in a position where you don't get excited, then you know your level. Then you know exactly where you can trade. You can trade in a neutral zone and not care either way, and you will become a better trader. Okay, so hope that helps, guys. Please do go and watch that case study. Not case study. This one here. What's it called? The documentary. Okay. And you'll find that quite interesting. And of course, do search about this here because this whole near miss thing, this thing is fascinating. Because even though I've been trading for donkey's years, I still find myself getting that bit of excitement when I have a near miss, even if I'm not actually in the market, but emotionally I was thinking of doing it, and that's enough to get me excited. Right, that's quite cool. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And any comments, leave them below, and please do subscribe. And I'll do my best to make more videos for you that will help you on your trading journey. Okay, cheers.